But yeah, I thought that was unreal. And then whenever I looked it up, the latest census 2022 said it was actually lower. At now, it's 1.7 million people that reside in West Virginia, and Chicago has 2.6 million that reside in Chicago. Like, that's unreal, dude. Twice the amount almost of people
And
live
and check
in
out,
a way tinier area.
and the crime's probably wild.
The
Yeah,
crime's
I'll be
fucking
a little
nuts
bit.
in
I'll come
Chicago.
find you. Fucking yeah, and the crime. If you look up, I got a good website that you'll like. It's called Gun Violence. What is it? Gunviolence.org. Gunviolencearchives.org. That tells you all the gun violence statistics, and Chicago's on there like an insane amount of times. But it's always big cities.
Yeah, I found it. I'm looking at it right now. It's unreal, man. But actually, I can't remember if I was looking at this with you last time or someone else showed me this. But what's so super interesting about this map is how, like, whenever it shows you the full image of the United States and it gives you the blots for like heavy gun violence,
Yeah.
if you look coming down from like New Hampshire, New York, really, but even like into New Hampshire and Maine, if you look, you'll see those blots like form this line all the way down to Florida, and it's literally the ridge of the Appalachian Mountains. It's wild, like that. I'll have to look, but maybe everyone was just putting like towns up on top of the ridge, and maybe that's what it is, like little cities and towns that follow the tops of the ridge. Or maybe it was even the blots were at the bases, and that's where all the towns were, and that's why it looked. I bet that's what it was, because the first time I saw it, I was like, "Why is the ridge getting so much violence? Like you get elevation, and you want to be an asshole? I don't know." But now I'm
But
thinking that's probably what
another
it
thing
was.
is another thing. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a decent amount of like shootings, killings in the mountains or in the air, in like less secluded or more secluded areas, where there's cops aren't
More
around, not to be people
right,
patrolling. You wouldn't even
because the
have to
terrain
bury a
is way
body in the
harder to
mountains.
navigate. Yeah.
You wouldn't even have to if you're in the mountains. You might not even have to bury a body. Might be able to kill somebody and just dump it, and the animals will take care of the rest. You know what I mean?
Right. And honestly, like, and I say this to keep it in mind for violent criminals and like watching them, but I feel like that situation, if someone killed someone in the mountains wrongfully and it required an investigation, just by doing it in the mountains, you've made that investigation cost just rise exponentially. Like it's already going to cost way more than someone having to go to a house in downtown, to get a
There's
body.
gonna be because there's gonna be no witnesses. There's gonna be no cameras. And you're gonna have to call,
Very hard terrain.
and you're gonna have to bring in, police,
Oh, you're
additional like extra police, additional equipment, possibly dogs, extra like
right.
all terrain vehicles, like shit like that, because instead, yeah, you're not just like you said, like in a downtown city or rural type area. You're in
Yeah.
a terrain that nobody exists.
But then think about Florida. Do you remember the Laundry and Petito case? I can't remember their first. Gabby Petito was the victim. She was like 20 something years old, young 20-year-old. Brian was the attacker. They were like, and they were a long-term relationship doing the van life thing, and then he killed her out somewhere west. But they were looking for him. It was a manhunt for a while, and they thought that he returned home to Florida. But like they had a lot of, it was during the rainy season in Florida, and like he was an avid outdoorsman, a huge hiker and stuff, clearly van life and
Yeah,
all. So they thought he took off into the Everglades. And like, dude, you should have saw the equipment they needed just to go try and search these at the Everglades. Plus, like, to try and like the days where they just couldn't navigate them because the flooding was so bad. They had to call in choppers to use infrared and heat scan and FLIR imagery, and like that's expensive as shit, you know?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember a little bit about that, the details.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's wild to think of too.
I bet same with the escaped more recently. That I don't remember if he was a serial killer or what, but he escaped from prison in PA, and I think they ended up finding him by the PA New York fucking line.
Yeah, I can't. Did I disappear just now?
But they had to. I mean, they were tracking him between all fucking outdoors and shit.
I was watching the headlines to that like every day because it went on for a while, as you know. It was unreal how long he took them. You know, he came through with some headlines that were like, "Hope is looking bad at finding him." Like he, you know, according to these statistics, escapees could be gone within 24 hours. You know, like how they do that.
Yeah.
And they were worried they weren't going to find him. Where in the heck did my window go?
Since we're talking about that, it's this is something I just learned the other day, but there's in Alcatraz history, there was only 3 people to escape. I don't know if you know that, and they escaped together. There was supposed to be a 4th, but he didn't make it out of his cell.
Yeah, dude, it's an awesome movie.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood has a movie of that story where he's like the lead guy who got the other 2 out.
Oh no, sure.
But they never found those dudes.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I was gonna say. They supposedly think they didn't make it. However, the island, Angel Island, wasn't that far, and if they did make, like, I don't know, I like to think they made it.
Yeah, right. But the San Francisco Bay, dude, is known to be a monster of a challenge itself to swim around in.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Below the Golden Gate Bridge, like, I've heard some nasty things about that body of water. How's it going, Drew?
What up, man?
Oh, not too much, guys.
What you been up to, dolls?
Well, talking about the Alcatraz prison escape right now in San Francisco Bay and everything. But yeah, it was John Anglin. Go ahead.
Is that the dude that like escaped and then like they never found him and then like 70 years later he wrote a letter?
Oh, I didn't know that, but there was 3. There was ever on record. There's only 3 escapes. And it was all the same escape. It was 3 guys on one escape, but they were never found. And I never heard anything about the later letter, but clearly it sounds like you're onto something because it kind of matches.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how true it is, but I heard of a letter being wrote about that. And then like 7 years later, the dude, like, I don't know the laws or anything against it. If it's like, it's been a certain amount of time, so it's not punishable anymore, but he wrote back to somewhere about it.
Wow. Okay.
That's interesting.
You'll have to do a little research on it because it is pretty cool.
I think Angel Island is only like a half mile from Alcatraz or something. Like, isn't it not that far?
Angel Island. Yeah, I mean, but half a mile swimming is pretty far, dude. Like, if you were sitting on the wall of Alcatraz and you were looking out at Angel Island, you're gonna be like, and you were thinking about swimming that, and let's say the water was as calm as a backyard pool on a summer day, you would be like, fuck, that's a long swim. Now add the terrors of the San Francisco Bay water body. Like, it would be horrifying to see. Although I would try it for sure.
Would that be comparable to like crossing the English Channel?
What's that?
Would that be comparable to like crossing the English Channel?
I'm not too familiar with the English Channel.
There was a guy that crossed the English Channel, swam it, and he was like practically dead by the time he got across.
Really?
Not
Where
like
is that?
literally, but like not literally.
Right,
but
right. But it was clearly a harder challenge than he
Yeah.
had thought he was undertaking.
Yeah, and he was like he was some established, like very, very good swimmer.
But it does add to the conversation for sure. What else did you find interesting there, Manzella? Like clearly, it sounds like you did some research.
So there's debate if they so I don't know, there was supposed to be, like I said, there was supposed to be a fourth guy, but apparently he never made it out of his cell. So
Right.
they went out without him. But there was also possibly like a boat guy, you know? So there was either what I think that was is either there actually was somebody who knew how, like, helped facilitate the plan somehow on the outside and picked them up in some sort of little, you know, some small boat, something dinghy or maybe something without even a motor, but just something
Right.
that they could paddle away silently. Or that fourth guy was the guy who, you know, maybe constructed this little raft or something. And I think they were able to escape because I don't think they swam. I think once they got to the beach, they had a raft, or they met somebody who picked them up.
Dude, that's a good point. I don't know why I never thought of that, but it was in the 1960s. So, I mean, like,
yeah,
that's
I think.
Right. So, like, I can't see even sonar being huge, like being used by the Alcatraz prison, but maybe, I don't know. However, the two of the guys that escaped were brothers.
Yeah.
And then the other guy was someone they already knew from previous stints in prison, is what I do know. So, like, I never thought of that, but maybe they knew another guy from that one of those stints in prison that had already been out and, like you said, helped facilitate a plan. And a boat, like a Zodiac or something, just rolled up and grabbed them up as they got off, you know?
That's what I think, dude. Because if it's even 1% possible to swim it on a perfect, you know, under perfect conditions, then if you had a raft or a dinghy or some small boat, then that exponentially increases your chances of making it a half mile or a mile to an island. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. And I don't know, you know, maybe it was an old myth that it was like a really dangerous body of water. To be honest, like, all bodies of water that are moving have really dangerous features about them, and none of them are the same. It is dependent because it seems like they even have a challenge now, which we'll have to look into later, that they throw on to swim. It's called Escape from Alcatraz, and you swim from some point to some point. So they're swimming it now. We may have to do that and record it. But anyhow, what was I going to say? Yeah, you had mentioned something that really struck me, and I can't even think of what it was now. That was good.
If they had a boat, it would probably almost.
This is what I was going to say. So whenever it comes to missing people in bodies of water, and I unfortunately like experienced this with one of my good buddies here. What I never understood was like how hard it is to find a body in water, let alone like even a car or something. Nick, my buddy, whenever I was called, because he had fallen off a jet ski, like I was there from the very beginning. So that was an evening where, you know, he was gone. No one found him. The next morning, I was literally called back by detectives. So from there, I got to watch them work. Like, I was called right back to the edge of the water. It was because I was the one who found the jet ski and rode it back and everything, you know? But I watched them. First, they were they were using sonar, right? And they even asked me because I had a drone with me, but they had their own drones. They just more the merrier, you know. Like we are also using drones. That was more so for the edges of the body of water, though. But then they weren't having any luck with the sonar. The average depth of this lake was 28 feet water, right?
Yeah.
With it had like 6 foot to like 12 foot, I guess, like seaweed growing up from the bottom too. They had went over the spot they ended up finding him, and it was literally where he fell off the jet ski, right? So like it was an area that we had all been looking for a very like the whole time. It was the area we all assumed he was in. And they were searching that area extensively with the sonar. Then they brought in cadaver dogs to smell and nothing. And then they brought the sonar back in. The investigation with that equipment all started at like 7:30 a.m., 8 a.m. They didn't find his body, which was only 28 feet of water, till right where we said he was. And, you know, like they thought so too. It made sense. Till 6 p.m. Like that's how hard it is to find a body in water. Now you add an ocean or a river. This was a little lake, you know, it's a little more still water or stale water, you know, whereas like a river and a lake, they're rushing and moving, and the buoyancy of a body at first is a lot. So like it gets pushed around and shit, you know, and
yeah. And a moving body of water, yeah, you'd never find it.
Yeah, rivers are a huge concern.
Spot. But and he was just at the bottom.
Yeah, he was in that seaweed. Yeah, he
wow.
He couldn't swim, and he wasn't wearing a life vest. And whenever he did a cut on his jet ski, like he fell off, and he couldn't swim. He drowned, dude.
Oh, that's fucking wild. It's interesting. So, also, I don't know, it kind of makes me think about the fucking investigation with that, you know, Nintendo fucking submarine that went down over the summer or whatever, right?
Yeah, right.
Like how much did that investigation cost, and what did they turn up with it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they turned up with quite a bit of the submersible. I got to see like the video footage of them actually bringing it back to a scrapyard to investigate. But it was destroyed, and they had to go 2 miles underwater to find that motherfucker. You know, like they were using some resources. There was money spent to get that scrap.
Yeah.
What were you saying though?
How crushed was it?
Oh, bro. Like it was just the cap area, and it was here. Let me pull it all up for everyone to see so they know what we're talking about. Obviously, like there's a way more in-depth way of explaining this, in which I don't even understand all the science. But why this submersible imploded and why it became such an ordeal is that world, the submersible world or the submersion world, they have been using these capsules for years now, successfully, you know, even to go to the Mariana Trench, which is so much deeper than the Titanic.
Right.
And these submersibles always had to be made out of malleable steels like titanium and stuff. But I'm pretty certain that titanium is the most common material used in building these submersibles. He was the first one to do carbon fiber. And everyone told him no, to not do that. He basically argued that it was more efficient and cheaper, you know, like if it's lighter and the material's cheaper, also the power supply that you need to move it is way less, like, you know. So but he wouldn't ever get this thing inspected either by the correct authorities that do that, which I think that's what happened. Was basically in this world, it found that this was avoiding inspection and still selling tours, and they're like, how the fuck, but what happened was, and why it imploded is because the material, it deteriorated to a point where pressure was being lost. Like the titanium or the carbon fiber that he used in the hull weakened to a point where the pressure was able to finally crack it. And that's when the implosion happened. But if you see, like, this is what I was talking about, some of the salvage debris they found. That was a little bit of it. They just made a great video I watched not too long ago simulating like the implosion.
Didn't the implosion happen over like a few milliseconds?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It happened so fast.
Yeah.
It happened so fast.
They probably didn't even register what was happening.
Definitely not.
It probably happened so fast. They probably didn't.
Yeah.
They were probably just alive and then instantly dead.
Is this it? This might be it.
Okay.
Nah. They should have. I saw a really good one. I don't know if this was it either. We'll just kind of let it play and talk at the same time and see if it's comparable or is, because that's not what happened right there. That's not how it looked, for sure.
Let's see.
We met. This isn't it. I may have to come back to this one.
Yeah, interesting though.
Say what?
I said it's interesting though.
It is, dude. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. I'll look for it for a little bit, and then if I find it, I'll let you guys know.
Peach,
Yeah,
I ended up finding that other GoPro that I was
dude.
gonna give you for the wedding. I ended up finding it.
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
you want this one too, you can have it too.
bro. That would be killer. Because honestly, the phones are, and anything bigger, like a lot of hunters. That's another thing. Right now, I'm hunting a lot, and I'm trying to film it. And most, you find two kinds of videos on YouTube of hunting from guys that are pretty good. Either you find that these guys had someone there recording them, or that they're using one camera typically, because it is really hard to hunt and like direct shooting sequences too for like your video, right? As in like moving them. That's where the GoPros are awesome, but they're only awesome if you can get the footage before the battery dies. Because they're so small, you could set them up. And why I like the GoPros, what I've been doing while hunting is, because it's like the rut right now, right? I'll have a camera on me, point of view. I'll have a camera on a tripod watching me, my reaction and action. And then all around my area. So because the rut right now, the buck are making scrapes. They'll go. So a scrape is just, they find a low hanging limb. They go up, they dig out from underneath that limb. They leave from scent glands. They're scent on a branch there. And then they piss in that dug up spot. And then a doe will come by and piss in the spot and lay estrus there if she's interested. But what I could do as a hunter is I carry buck estrus and doe piss with me. And I go to like this existing scrape. I could make them too, but it's better to use a buck's existing scrape, especially if it's a large buck that you want to get. But lay down another buck's piss in that hole. Then I lay down a doe's piss and then the doe's estrus. And that just gets a buck fired up in the area because another buck just came by and used this thing. So I'll take these kind of tripods here, which I have a bunch of them. And that's why you see a GoPro on it. And I'll wrap it in the limbs right there at a good angle just to get a good close up. While like if that buck does come by or something,
Yeah, that's actually pretty smart, dude.
just trying to get away with the least amount of stuff and trying to be cheap. But my thing is trying to give content that you don't see,
So,
Do something different.
but no, your phones aren't connected, right? Like they're all on separate.
So the phones, all the 2 phones that I use that are old iPhones of mine, I completely deleted everything on them. I reset them. Whenever I turn them back on and it's Apple saying hello, they like sign into a Gmail account.
Mm-hmm.
I'm skipping it. I chose to not use an account. There is no Google account on there, and they don't have any I can use the Wi-Fi and I can use the Bluetooth. What's really cool is what does suck about that is because there's no Gmail account attached to either of those phones. I only have the storage that the phone has. So like basically after I shoot whatever story I'm trying to tell, I have to get that media off of. But what's convenient about that shit is I'll edit the video on there to like if I edit as in trim. I'll trim like links if like there's links that I know I don't want, right? And then all I gotta do is take the iPhone head to head with the iPhone that I actually have on service, and I freaking airdrop it to it and send it to the file, the project file I'm using, and it's smooth operating.
That's,
using shit I already have.
Yeah, that's clever.
He's a smooth operator.
Before I forget, I don't know. I just feel like this is important news that people should know. So,
okay,
I went on my first cruise last week. Well,
yeah,
first civilian cruise, Marine Corps. I went on a Marine Corps cruise, but I'll be honest with you. I think the Marine Corps cruise was more fun.
What?
I honestly did not have a good time on the cruise. Not that. So everyone, the actual cruise itself, like the workers and stuff, they were all respectful and delightful, pleasant. But the actual cruise kind of sucked, and I think part of it was the other people that you're on the cruise with. So this was something that was kind of surprising to me.
So that was that basically your only big beef was just dealing with the other vacationers?
I think so. Yeah, the actual like.
Because I've never been on a cruise.
So it's the actual cruise itself was pretty good. The food was decent. Nothing to brag about, but like some of it was pretty good. Whatever. Had my first black and blue steak, which I never knew what black and blue actually meant, but I always order my steaks rare. And someone was like, "You should just try black and blue."
Well, you gotta go into that now.
So black and blue. Have you ever had a black and blue steak? All right. So what they do is they if you like your steaks like as rare as they come, order a black and blue. And what they do is they put the steak in the freezer. Like the steaks are obviously thawed before they start to cook them, but they throw it back in the freezer for like 10, 15 minutes or something. So get it like cold and all the blood goes. I think like all the blood kind of goes to the center, and then when you throw it on and you cook it, it's like I can't describe it except it's like if Jesus had made the steak. That's what I imagine it would taste like. It was so fucking
what
good.
Was the internals done to? Would you have it medium rare or rare?
No, I got a rare black. I got a black and blue, which is like rarer than rare. So basically, when they throw it in the freezer and then they fry it, it makes the inside. It keeps the inside. So like it wasn't cold when I got it, but it just was like perfectly fucking
room temp.
Like red and pink still in the center. It was terrific. But so anyway, the one thing, so if you like rare steaks, then definitely next time you will go get steaks, order a black and blue, and it'll change your life.
I've heard that referred to as Pittsburgh rare before.
Pittsburgh rare? See, I've never heard that. Anytime I go, I'm just like, if I'm in the mood, usually I'm in the mood, I always get it rare, but sometimes I'm in the mood where I'm just like, I want it as rare as it can fucking like, I want you just cut it off the fucking cow and put it on my plate. So I asked them, and they
Yeah.
were like, "You just want." So I asked them. I was like, I had
I
a couple drinks.
legitimately want it bleeding. Like
Yeah.
legitimately. Like make sure there's blood coming out
So
of it
that
whenever
and
I
that's
eat it.
basically that's literally black and blue. So when I was describing,
Okay, I like it.
I want the steak as rare as I possibly can, and they're like, "You want it black and blue?" And then so that's when I found out. So it was terrific. Definitely tried that. The one thing I want to say real quick that surprised me on the cruise is how many just enormously fat people are on the cruise. Do you know?
Really?
So my take on it, like my whole life, I'm 30 years old. Anytime I've ever heard people talking about going on the cruise, they're always like, especially like February and like January, February, March. That's popular time for cruise because it's there's breaks, there's spring break and Christmas break, and you got like it's right after the holidays. And anyways, anytime I've ever heard about someone talking about going on a cruise, they're always talking about how they're like they're working out like months before. They want to get in like good shape so they look good because they're going to be in the bathing suit and stuff. Yo, there was like barely any people who were morbidly obese on this fucking like.
Well,
If you compared me to everyone on the ship, dude, I could have won a fucking swimsuit competition.
physique competition.
I was a fucking like Greek god compared to everyone else. I'm talking just and like I expected.
What theme did you go under? Retired?
What's that?
What theme did you go on? Like a retired cruise?
No,
Is that what
that's
you guys
the thing.
did?
There was like no, there was young people too. There was kids and stuff. So one of the people, one of the couples I saw that was like in the best shape, also had like 4 kids. But then there's literally like
so it's just a
morbidly
family friendly
like,
cruise, like no chosen theme really.
No, it was family friendly. Like there was not a lot of kids. Some people brought their kids, like I said, and their kids were annoying, but like really wasn't that bad because there wasn't that many of them.
Where was your destination?
Was just a ton of fat people. We went to Bermuda.
Okay. Yeah, dude.
And not the cool part where you get lost, like the northern island.
Or were you just like maybe you think you hate civilian cruises right now because like you just had too many people idolizing your physique and you're not used to the attention?
That's not even
the eyes.
That's not even a thing. I'm telling you, dude. Like it's just I just cannot believe how like you could just look across the ship and you'd be like, wow, you guys did the opposite of what everyone else did before a cruise. You guys decided to get as fat as you fucking possibly could so you could come on the cruise and like, well, were you guys trying to sink the boat? It's like collectively they were like, all right, let's get all the fat people on this boat. We really want to test its buoyancy. You know what I mean? Like
you telling that the story that went through my head was I met this super huge man named Dave on your cruise, and then I'm laying in bed using what little Wi-Fi I have, and I feel the boat like duck hard to the right, and I look out the porthole to my left and see that the water's calm, and then I think to myself, Dave must have just like went to the right side of the ship. Is like what played through my head.
Dude, that's basically there was so we went on this what's it called? Excursion. They're called excursions, right? And they're like once you get to the destination, they're like little extra things you could do. You know, they're like between 1 and 300, and sometimes you can go scuba diving or shark seeing. One of the options was to swim with dolphins, shit like that, right? Well, there was this one where we just got on this giant pontoon, probably like 40 to 50 people. We just got on this giant pontoon and we sailed around while they served us this rum swizzle like drink that they made up, and it's super good.
Sounds delicious. Yeah,
it was terrific, and it's made of like 4 different rums, but it tastes like candy. Anyway, so we're just cruising, and it's like they're so decent and so polite on this cruise. Like even during excursions, everyone that they literally don't want to inconvenience you to do anything. I mean, like being on this cruise is awesome. They play like you don't even take your tray or your dishes up. They clean up everything after you completely, so you have to do absolutely nothing. So like they absolutely do not try to bother you in any way at all, right? They literally, during this fucking excursion, when we're like just sailing on this pontoon, they had to ask people to shift to the other side of the boat because there was so many fat people on one side of the boat that they
It literally happened.
They literally had to. And obviously
Wow.
they didn't go up to
I
him
know
like
how
I
that
did.
is as a captain. I was
Right?
like, one time had you on my fucking the starboard side with me, or sorry, port side with me on my boat, and I was like, damn, yo, take your fat head back over to the freaking starboard side.
And dude, and think about it, that's a 6 to 8 seater boat. So if you have a couple extra bags or too much in the front, that makes a huge difference. This is like a
dude.
giant. This is like
You'll
a
put me
giant
into a
fucking cartoon.
fucking
And
dude, right?
they had to walk up and be
About
like,
to
"Hey,
put
can
you
you
into a
guys shift to
freaking
the
island.
side?" Is
That's
insane.
crazy, dude.
Other than that, I mean, the cruise was like decent though. Like there was so I don't know if you ever were like on ship during like when you went to Norway or anything. I don't know if there was any storms. So basically,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
were like beating
Yeah.
a storm. So we went to Bermuda a day early, and we left a day early so we could avoid the hurricane whatever fuckface. But we still got hit with the storm like the second day we got there. So like, oh my god, I don't want to shit on. So I won't say everybody. I brought a person on the cruise, and
Okay.
we rented scooters, and then they decided they were afraid of scooters. So
Those was it an electric scooter?
it was a gas scooter, but it was like
Okay.
those cedar. It was like those mopeds. Those like fucking like, and its max speed is like 35 miles an hour. So
That's
I was
fast,
like,
dude, for a moped. A lot of people don't realize what they're getting. They think they're just going to get the speed that they would if they were pushing with their foot, but without the work.
yeah,
Wrong.
yeah. So yeah, they're like little motorcycles, I guess. But anyway, like max speed was like maybe 40 miles an hour. And that's as fast as everyone's going on this island because everyone's going like 25 clicks or whatever. You know what I mean? So they're fucking. I was like, hey, we should get a car, a 2-seater car. They're like, no, scooters would be fun. I'm like, okay. So we get scooters, and then like, oh no, this shit's scary. I can't do it. So the whole first day, which was beautiful, by the way, was spent not doing anything. And then
Nothing. Sitting in the room.
yeah, well, so yeah, we got into argument about the scooters and then ended up not doing anything. Then the next day, it just pissed all day. Like, so, like nobody was even.
But I imagine there's a lot of things you can resort to under the cover
So
of like
there's
ship
obviously
roofs.
yeah. So there's obviously all the restaurants and shit. There is the casino. However, when you're ported, it doesn't open till 9 p.m. And then there's there's definitely stuff to do, but the
Did you
majority
watch
of the
any
shit to do-
shows? Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I watched
There's a lot of
part of
shows,
one.
though.
I watched part of one show where these two guys tried to make cakes or something, and it just wasn't funny. So I fucking so I didn't really watch any shows after that. But fucking the majority does now. These cruise ships are amazing, and everyone has different shit. Like this new one that they just came out with like last year. It's got like a fucking race, like a go-kart racetrack on it, right?
Yeah,
So it looks like you're fucking on Mario Kart in a fucking where he's on like fucking Peach's ship or whatever. It's pretty sweet. But like so I said, that wasn't the cruise ship I was on, but that's one of them. But every cruise ship has something like that. The cruise ship that I was on had these fucking 4 water slides that were pretty cool, and then it had like putt and a basketball court and shit like that. So that was pretty cool. I went down all the slides and shit. I mean, you got like that's pretty cool to be on a water slide on a ship.
I bet, dude. I always wanted to go on a cruise. I think I'll do one here in the near future, but they look cool. I've done a lot of investigating or looking into.
So they were definitely like the shortest, obviously, water slides I've been on. However, 2 of them were pretty sweet because I've never been on water slides like these. Basically, you are standing at like if you're standing upright, you're at 90 degrees. So you're basically like a 75-degree angle standing, and then
Okay.
there's this little countdown. It's like 3, 2, 1, and then it drops you. But mine, the 3 was broken, so I'm just sitting there. All I hear is 2, 1, and like so. As I realize, oh, it's a countdown. Like I had 1 second less, and then the floor drops, and you're literally in air, and you just fall, and it feels like a couple seconds, but it's probably only like a second and a half, and then you just go so smooth right into the slide that you like don't
That's
feel
sick.
it. Like it's terrific.
Right.
But
So you
I've
have
never-
like this super like jolt of like fear and shock at first, but it like just coddles you so nicely into like
Yeah,
it awesome. That's cool. That's cool.
But
And
I don't
it's
want to
awesome.
interject. I don't mean to interject, but
No,
that
you're good.
story, oh my gosh. So we were down in Tennessee, me and Dylan were, and we went to a water park. There's a bunch of water parks. There's by Dollywood.
Right.
Dollywood has a water park, and there's another one.
Oh yeah.
Great Smoky Mountain like water park, something like that. And either way, me and Dylan are going on the biggest water slide. It's one of those ones that you stand in where the floor like comes out and it drops and you just fall.
I've never done that, guys. But go ahead.
It's probably a 80-degree angle. Like it's not straight down, but it's damn close.
Yeah.
So it is. I have kind of been. What I'm hearing, what this sounds like, is like, and I've always been a sucker for these, just because like I always like to be the guy, you know. I do. But like at Splash, no, not Splash Lagoon. Sandcastle here in Pittsburgh, the middle slide is basically a straight freaking. Your back is not on the slide, and it does, but a little rougher. Like you do as soon as it starts to gain angle, like you catch and go in. It just has kind of higher walls, but you're like, oh shit, you free fall for a second.
Yeah.
But at like there, and the ones I've done like it at different water parks on the East Coast here, is you obviously have to walk up a ladder, but like you wait, like you sit there on a bar and you pull yourself down,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
like the ones that do have the straight down drop, at first it's like a slow slope that you go, you don't just jump off the edge. But it sounds like now they're just putting floors over top these, because like the reason I love doing that slide, because usually right next to it was gradual ones, right? Was there's no one ever on that slide, and I want to be the guy on. I want to be seen, not known, So like I wanted to be seen, and I would do them. But that must be like how they got people to get past their nerves at first, just at a floor, and now everyone does it, That would have done it before. They just didn't think it was something they would enjoy.
Yeah.
And they were scared.
So you're saying the one you do, you literally like you start sliding and
I've
then
done
you
many
drop.
and all that. I'm talking. Yeah. Well,
Now, that
it's
sounds
only
awesome.
it's because I've done it many places. It's like most water parks. It's the tallest slides you see, and there's usually 3, and there's usually one that has that the degree that I'm talking about, which is probably damn near 90, because you're back off the slide like
Yeah.
for a little bit of the way down. They're all I've done the same thing different places, so I'm saying it's a common thing at these water parks. But yeah, all you have to get in a tube, so like it's only like the tube that you get in with the bar and hold on to, with water flowing behind you, right? So like there's
Right.
a stream of water being pushed behind you. You're sitting there, and there's usually a guy, and he's the one who tells you when to go and whatnot. But this one, because like it would be kind of really dangerous to just like hurdle yourself off the edge,
Yeah.
So yeah, they on the ones I'm talking about, which they would eliminate for your door, obviously, is like what they do to kind of equalize everyone is give them a little bit of run of not so steep to kind of like make sure everyone's body gets positioned in this drop the same way to not exceed the barriers, But yeah,
So it like I don't know. This thing was so cool because like you jump into this like enclosure and then they close the door and you're like you're in
The
like
only guy in there.
you're in like a tiny tank and then like the floor. It moved so fast. I didn't even catch it if it just like
Really?
I didn't catch it there. So there's like a break in the middle. So I don't know if it goes straight in. I don't know if it like flaps down like I would assume. I don't know if Doctor Strange just does a magic trick real quick because it's so quick. And then all of a sudden you're just in the air. And like the first time it's cool because they're like cross your arms. And I'm like, okay. But dude, I wasn't expecting it. So like naturally I just like threw my arms up. But then the second time I did it, it was dope because I was expecting it. So, dude, I felt like Black Panther when he like falls out the fucking airplane in the movie or whatever. Yep. But it was fucking.
Dude,
they're so cool.
Sick. That sounds so fun too. Like I want to do it just for the door. I think it would be hilarious if they gave you like just like it felt like it was going and then it didn't. Like. But then like it went translucent so you could see right below you or something. That'd be hilarious. Like,
oh yeah.
And then you just heard like a ratchet clicking, and then like eventually, that'd be sick.
That's kind of the thing I was getting into with Dylan. So we were at this water park, and it had that one where you get in the capsule, they shut you in, you wait like 30 seconds, and then they don't give you a timer, they just drop you. But I went down it the first time. Dylan went down the regular one. Dylan's the type of guy that he will not go out of his comfort zone. So the second time on the slides, I knew what it was like. The second time with the slides, he wanted to do the drop one where they put you in there and they drop it.
Yeah.
So I asked the lady once she locked him in there to start messing with him. So she started acting all ditzy and was like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. It's not working. She pressed the button, but it's not working. I don't know. Hold on here for a second. So she walked away and she had me hit the button as she walked away. So it scared the ever-loving shit out of Dylan. And he was screaming like a little baby. Oh, dude, it was so hilarious. It was perfect.
There's nothing better than punking a buddy and good fun like that. There's nothing better. Yeah, I don't know how you like feel so bad, but yet so warm and fuzzy inside over a situation. Like like it's amazing. Usually gives me the biggest grin.
Yo, fucking since we're talking about I don't know water, I guess fucking me and this big head. And a couple of our buddies, I think Holly was there too. We were took his boat out back in the back in the good old days, and we found this rope swing in
oh my god,
Cheat Lake,
West Virginia.
So we were at Cheat
Lake Reservoir.
And, we found this fucking rope, and we got a friend who did not have the required upper body strength to maintain rope grip.
So I'll explain this rope swing a little bit real quick. This rope swing is epic. It's a treasured event and spot in my life.
So you gotta earn it.
Yeah, you do. This rope swing sits off of the so like the edge where this rope swing sits is for a good little distance, maybe like seriously like 15 to 20 feet out from the shoreline is only like it only grades from like
it's
2.5 feet, yeah.
Okay.
Like the deepest it is 2.5 feet, but it instantly drops into 60 feet of water. Okay. Instantly, like on the sonar, it's crazy. Like it's wild. But so you have like 15, 20 feet of water that's only 2.5 or less. But then you get to the edge of water and it's instantly, as you get to the edge, it's straight up ground. Like you have to
it takes a little bit of arm strength to climb up.
You have to scale this hill to where this like derooted tree is sitting out. All right. Mm-hmm. So like you scale. And then once you get to where the tree is, it only like flattens out enough so that you can stand where you're gonna throw yourself off with the rope. From there, there's even more grade, but it's still very steep grade, but it's not like scaling grade. So what a lot of guys do is they'll even like try to go a little higher from where this flat spot is, right?
Okay.
And there's 3 knots in the rope. The 3 knots, the first knot is just sits perfect, like where you stand at that flat spot, right? The knots are just like, it's more epic, but it's harder to do. The third knot, which the 3 of us were doing, me, Alex, and then another buddy, not the one we're talking about. We are all doing a third knot because what happens is you jump off and you got to you kind of like hold the rope to your chest, because whenever you jump off, it's such a straight drop that the rope is going to jerk you. It's going to snap and
slack.
jerk.
Yeah, slacking. Yeah.
A lot of, if you hold that third knot. So the guy we're speaking of, he's a little heavier, not so much arm strength. I told him, I said, do not use any knot but the first knot. However, he went over with these 2 guys, Alex and our bud Joe, and they told him to use the third knot.
Of course.
Bro, this dude, I mean, he's a buddy, and he just wants to be a bud. So, like, you tell him to jump off a bridge, he's jumping off a bridge, you know? You got to give him, if he has fear, he don't show it. But, because, like,
he's got some balls.
He should have known that there was no other possibility for him but eating fucking Riverstone, like, at the bottom of this. There was no other possibility. So I don't know why he did it, but he ate it. Go ahead.
I want to add that also, if you're 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", like Kleinsmith, the knots are like perfect height.
It gets further for me, dude.
If you're 5'6", the knot's in like a little bit of an awkward spot, which our friend is about probably 5'6".
5'6", 5'8",
and
5'6", right?
So yeah, what killed him too was, honestly, I don't know if he had the arm strength, but what killed him was that he didn't even use it. So he was kind of like sketching himself out at the top.
Yeah.
And at one point he had like one hand on the rope and he started to slip. So then obviously instinctively, like, he knew he was going down, so he instinctively tried to grab the rope, didn't get the grip, and he pretty much, like, the rope went way further than he did.
I have no idea how you guys ever convinced him to do that, because, like I said, he knew he wasn't going to make that. It was wild, dude. He jumped.
Words
it
are
looked
powerful,
like he jumped
man.
off a cliff because there was no like stutter in momentum. So after he jumped, usually for people like that little bit of strength they have, kind of slows the momentum of the body down, right? Like there's a shift in it before like it continues on to its next action. He jumped off, and the whole like at least 25 feet that he fell was all at the same velocity. Like there was, it was all it was nuts. I might have, bro. It was nuts. It was so scary for me. I was sitting off in the background, so like I saw this all from widescreen TV, you know.
And we had our other buddy. He's an EMT, or he was at the time. Well, he's still an EMT, but he it was just funny because he was drunk amongst other things, and he was giving him fucking like medical like advice and shit from like the top of the fucking rock too. Like it was
oh shit.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, he got.
That's not even it. That was the worst one. I think this is the area we're talking about. This is us there.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is what you have to scale. You see the swing here with the 3 knots, right? But that has to go all the way up here. This dude lands, and then you could see that I'm way more than 10 feet from the edge right here, right?
Yeah.
And you could see that's about 2.5 feet. It's right below my ass, you know? This dude hit right here. And he's the only one wearing a life vest. So, like, there's so many flags, red flags right here. He's the only one wearing a life vest over here, 2.5 feet of water. He hasn't jumped yet.
I think he hit, honestly, I think he hit, well, he definitely hit earth before he hit water.
What? Yeah, dude.
When he hit,
bro.
when he fell, he hit earth before water.
Yeah, just because his body displaced the shallow little bit of water there so fast that it caused him to eat the riverbed, bro.
That's bad.
Yeah, so that was a crazy. I also actually better yet, I have a video for you, gentlemen. I'm gonna have to locate this.
I've got a crazy story in Klein. So, do you remember when you came up here? I don't remember what time of the year it was, but I think it was spring or something. No, summer. We went on that little hike about 20 minutes, 15 minutes from my house, and we found this little waterfall.
Yeah,
but it had no trespassing. So apparently, even though it has no trespassing, apparently, like, I got a buddy who lives in that area, and he says, like, on weekends, people just, like, during the summer, people go there and fucking party and drink. And
I believe it. Okay.
And they go swimming, and no one really gives a fuck. So, apparently, people also jump off of those cliffs. Do you remember? I know it was a while ago, but do you remember that waterfall?
Yeah. It was called like Akron Falls or something, and I have video footage of it.
Yep.
Great thing about wanting to do all this shit.
You
Is
don't.
it called Akron Falls? Am I right?
Yeah, you couldn't. You don't have a pic. Like, you couldn't pull it up, could you?
Yeah, I could.
Because I want to show you, dude, climbing up this watery, slick ass fucking death trap little tiny mountain waterfall was so sketchy, dude. But we jumped off at 2 spots. We climbed up twice. It was pretty insane. It was just the 2 of us there. It was like August. The water was fucking perfect, dude. We went in first, and we like scoped, like we swam in, and I swam down, and I couldn't reach anything, and I didn't touch the bottom, so I was like, fuck, it must be deep enough. So we fucking we tried. It was pretty insane. I actually bet I could pull up a picture from the internet, although I can't. I don't know if I can screen share it on this. Microphones.
Yeah, I could not figure out how to work it on the phone.
Okay,
I'll just pull it up before. Let's see.
So actually, if you Google, see, can I send you a picture on your phone? Would that help or no?
I've got. Oh, wait. Sorry, I forgot. I stopped sharing screen. Hold on. Sorry, I've had it up.
Oh, okay.
I've got actual footage.
Yeah, because I want to show you I want to show you the 2 spots which it jumped off. It's pretty insane. Yeah, so we went through there, and there was a lot more water too. So there was water.
Yeah, this is winter, right? Isn't this like during the winter? Or getting close to it?
No, it had to be warmer, but it definitely
was dry. That's right. It was Memorial Day.
Oh, okay. So, well, in August, all right. So, right there. All right. So, if you take your clicker right where it was over, go down to the next ledge, to the right, though. So, yeah, right there. We jumped off a little to the left. We jumped off of there. And then we're like, fuck it. We climbed back up. And then we did go up with the mouse. And, yeah, to the left. We jumped off of there the second time, dude.
Oh,
man.
That's ballsy.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So when I jumped off of there, I did like gently hit the ground, hit the bottom of the fucking the wall, like the ground, whatever underneath.
It's
Really?
got to be like 30 feet or something.
Yeah,
That's got to be damn near.
I definitely went deep.
That is higher than the rope swing by a little. I would say that rope swing where you start is probably like right here.
Yeah, probably.
So I guess you would kind of swing out to about half of that if you were good and strong, you know?
Yeah, I would say it's probably about accurate. So yeah, the shit was pretty high. And